Following the PowerPoint, you will be required to complete a quiz in order for your team to complete the pre-registration process. As a captain, it is your job to relay all information to your teammates. It is also your responsibility to make sure that all participants are responsible for the rules and the intramural sports policies posted on the IM League's website. Ignorance of the rules is not an excuse for their violation. The Competitive Sports Office phone number is 608-262-8258, and we are located in room 1025 of the natatorium. The best way to contact us is by email at imsports@recsports.wisc.edu. In the event of inclement weather, please call the Rec Sports Weather Hotline at 262-4756 and click on option 4 for cancellation information. We will do our best to announce cancellations by 3 p.m. on weekdays. If a team is wishing to cancel a game, they must have their team captain or co-captain email the intramural sports administrative staff at imsports@recsports.wisc.edu by 12 p.m. the day of the contest with their name, team name, league of play, and their intent to cancel. Once a cancellation has been granted, the request cannot be overturned. Cancellations made after 12 p.m. the day of the contest will result in the team being charged the $25 default fee. Phone cancellations will no longer be accepted. Defaults. If less than the minimum number of required players of a team have checked in with the supervisor at the scheduled location within 10 minutes of the scheduled time of the contest, the supervisor will declare the contest a default. All defaults carry a $25 fee, which can be paid online using your IM Leagues account. Eligibility. In order to participate in intramural sports, all fee-paying students are eligible to participate. Faculty and staff members are eligible to participate, but they must have a valid recreational sports membership. All participants should activate their account on IM Leagues prior to play. For more information, please visit our website at recsports.wisc.edu to activate your IM Leagues account. Participants may only compete on one single-gender team and one co-rec team. They are not allowed to play on 2 single-gender teams or 2 co-rec teams. Your job as captains is to make sure that your rosters are accurate before the playoffs begin, and rosters can be viewed at any time on IM Leagues. Players may be added to the roster at any time online at IM Leagues or at the game site, provided they are eligible and meet all the requirements. Any team that uses an ineligible player during the regular season will forfeit that game and any game that player was a part of. Any team that uses an ineligible player during the playoffs will forfeit the game and will be immediately dropped from further competition. Captains, make sure you please review your rosters before the playoffs start. All participants must have a valid UW ID card or Rec Sports membership card that swipes into Fusion. If a participant forgets their UW ID card, they can still gain access by using a courtesy pass as long as they have another valid photo ID or have a picture on in Fusion. Valid photo IDs include a photo in the Fusion profile, their driver's license, a passport, or any government-issued photo ID. Courtesy passes may be issued up to 6 times per semester for participants. This includes entries into facilities. Numbers are reset at the beginning of every semester. So if you were checking into the natatorium to play basketball, a courtesy pass would be given to you once you checked into the building and then also when you participated in the program. So in a night you could use up to 2 courtesy passes or more if you forgot your ID and didn't have a picture. This slide is just a breakdown of our sportsmanship rating as follows. Remember that you need at least a 4.0 to make the playoffs and to stay in the playoffs. Playoffs. Achieved a 4.0 average or higher in sportsmanship rating. and you have less than 2 forfeits, cancellations, or defaults, or any combination of the aforementioned. And make sure that you achieve a regular season record of 500 or better. Any team not given the opportunity to play 50% or more of their regularly scheduled games, example would be games canceled due to rain, will be placed into the playoffs. The day following the end of the regular season, a blank bracket will be posted in the morning. Teams will be ranked by their winning percentage, with the tiebreaker being accumulated sportsmanship points. Further ties will be broken randomly by the system. Starting at 5 p.m., teams will select their position on the bracket based on their rank. Focus on your team's best days and times to play throughout the playoffs more than the competition level. If a qualifying team misses their designated slot time, they can jump into the order where it stands and select at that time. Qualifying teams that fail to select their spot in the draft prior to its conclusion will be randomly assigned to an open slot by the league coordinator. Regular season games will not be rescheduled. Playoff games will only be rescheduled due to conflict with other intramural sports activities and academic conflicts, classes, labs, and exams. That does not include student organizations that result in a team not having the minimum number required to start the game. This is why it's important as a captain to definitely check your rosters before the playoffs start. Teams wishing to request a game to be rescheduled must submit a reschedule request form located on the Rec Sports website under the Intramural Sports tab by 12 p.m. the business day prior to the game. Proof of conflicts must be uploaded into the form located on the website. If a team feels an intramural sports staff member has enforced a rule or policy incorrectly, they must call a timeout immediately following the ruling in question. The intramural sports supervisor will then make a decision regarding the correct ruling and how to proceed. If the intramural sports supervisor is unable to make a decision on the spot, the game will be played under protest, and the intramural sports administrative staff will make a decision following the next business day. Only rule interpretations and player eligibility can be protested. Note, the judgment of an official may never be tested. The competitive sports staff reserves the right to eject any individual, team, or spectator who interrupts the flow of a game in any manner. Players may be ejected before, during, and after any contest by any recreational sports staff member. To regain eligibility, the ejected person must complete each of the following. First, prepare a written statement detailing the events surrounding the incident. Include outline of events surrounding ejection, actions that led to the ejection, assurance that the behavior will not occur again, suggestion for appropriate disciplinary action, and how the behavior will be avoided in the future. The statement should be sent to the coordinator of competitive sports. Secondly, they must schedule an appointment to meet with a coordinator of competitive sports, and their contact information can be found on our website. Please check out the Intramural Sports Handbook for further information. What's new for this year? Lots of rule changes throughout specific sports, so please read through all the rules carefully and relay them to your team before play. One of our biggest differences this year is in co-rec. The differential between male and female participants can be no more than 2 now. The old rule was 1, and we've relaxed that to 2. So make sure that you meet all of the other eligibility requirements. Also new, the Dr. Walter A. Wittich Scholarship. Any student who has participated in an intramural sport during the semester of the award is eligible to apply, but high consideration will go to those individuals who have gone above and beyond in the community, leadership, sportsmanship, and a growing appreciation of lifelong value of physical activity. The scholarship is a $400 scholarship that is awarded to any male or female student that applies and is selected. Things that are taken into consideration is participation in intramural sports while at UW-Madison, the leadership shown both in sport and on campus, examples of sportsmanship, and how involvement in the intramural sports program has influenced lifelong healthy physical activity habits. For questions or more information, please contact us at iamsports@recsports.wisc.edu. Shoes must be worn. No sandals, boots, or bare feet are permitted out at the intramural fields. Gloves or mitts must be worn by all defensive players while out in the field. Players are to bring their own practice balls and gloves to the game. Softball bats and game balls will be provided. Teams that bring their own bat must use ASA-approved softball bats. Please visit the ASA softball website for certified equipment for more details. Batting order. At least 7 players must occupy the first 7 spots in the batting order. Anyone arriving late will fill in the 8th, 9th, and 10th spots accordingly. Empty spots in the batting order will result in outs. A courtesy runner may take the place of any base runner injured during play, with the understanding that both players are eligible for further participation in the game. Any eligible sub shall be used as a courtesy runner. If no eligible subs are available, the player who made the last out shall be the courtesy runner. If the last out is on base, up to bat, or next to bat, the previous available out should be used. Teams are allowed to bat 10 or 11 with an extra player, 12 with 2 extra players in co-rec, 1 male and 1 female, in the batting order. The female-male batting rotation must be maintained in co-rec. If a men's team has 11 players, all 11 may bat. A co-rec team has 6 males and 5 females. Only 5 males and 5 females will be allowed to bat. Otherwise, you must take an out. In co-rec games, males and females must alternate in the batting order. Team captains must notify the umpire immediately of a substitution in the batting order. Players can substitute freely from the field and the bench, but when they are substituting into the batting lineup, they must notify the umpire immediately. All players may withdraw and re-enter a game once, but they must occupy the same batting position in the lineup when they do so. The opposing team handles improper re-entry with a protest. An improper re-entry becomes a violation after a pitch is made. There can never be more than 10 players out in the field at any one time. And all players must stand or sit behind the chain link backstop unless they are playing a defensive position, batting, or running the bases. If after 3 innings either team is ahead by 20 runs, if after 4 innings either team is ahead by 15, or if after 5 either team is ahead by 10 runs, the game will be deemed official and be terminated. If the home team goes ahead by the mercy rule in the bottom half of an inning leading up to the mercy rule, the game will be terminated at that point. Unfinished games. In case the game is terminated due to darkness, weather conditions, or any unusual situations, the score shall revert back to the end of the last completed inning. The game will be considered complete if it reaches 5 complete innings, or if the game is called and the score difference is greater than 15 runs. No new innings of play will begin after the 50-minute mark. A game is complete after the completion of the inning, after the 50-minute mark, or 7 innings, whichever occurs first regardless of score. Extra innings will be played to declare a winner if the game is tied at this point. At the highest point of the pitch, the arc shall be between 6 and 12 feet. If a quick pitch is thrown, the umpire shall call illegal pitch. Please make sure that the batter is ready. The pitcher has 20 seconds to release the next pitch. If an illegal pitch is thrown, the umpire shall call illegal pitch. The batter has the option to take the pitch, which is an automatic ball, or swing, in which case it becomes a legal pitch and the ball is live if hit. The pitcher must keep the pivot foot in contact with the pitcher's plate until the pitched ball leaves the hand. The pitch also must be made in one continuous motion and can only move forward and backwards once. The pitcher must be facing forward at the time of the pitch. A called strike is a legal pitch when it strikes home plate, which includes the black perimeter and/or the carpet placed immediately in back of the plate. Any pitch not striking the plate or carpet and not swung at will be ruled a ball. If a batter steps with one or both feet entirely out of the batter's box, they shall be called out. If the batter steps on or over the plate or mat, they will also be called out. Players will start with a 1-strike, 1-ball count. 4 balls will constitute a walk. A strikeout will consist of any combination of 3 strikes. A foul ball is considered a strike. With 2 strikes, the batter is allowed 1 free foul ball. The second foul will be considered a strike and the batter will be out. Co-rec base on balls. A male batter who receives a base on balls or intentional walk is awarded first base and second base, and the female batter who follows must bat unless there are 2 outs, and then she has the option to walk or bat. The male batter is not awarded second base if the following spot in the batting order is an out due to a team playing with less than 10 players, and the next actual batter is a male. On an overthrow, out of bounds is delineated by an out-of-play line extending from the backstop. Overthrow penalty. You get 2 bases from the last base legally touched shall be awarded for an overthrow that goes out of play. This is determined when the player thrower releases the ball. So when the ball is released, you get the base you're going to plus the next one. If a runner is between first and second when the throw has begun, they will be awarded second base and third base. If overthrown into an in-play area, runners advance at their own risk. If 2 runners are between the same base, the base awards are determined by the lead runner. There will be a line drawn 1/3 of the way from home plate and third base. If the runner crosses this line, they must go home and it will be considered a force out. When possible, the catcher has the plate and the runner should use the mat to avoid collisions. Leadoff, stealing, bunting, or chopping down on the ball are not permitted. Sliding is permitted. Those players that do not know how to slide properly are cautioned not to slide. First base. It has a double safety base that will be used. Generally, the fielder will have the base in fair territory and the runner will have the base in foul territory. We will use the ASA double first base rule with the exception of an appeal for an out if the runner touches the base in fair territory. The pitching mat behind the plate is considered to be an extension of the plate for home plate. This concludes the Intramural Sports Softball Tournament Captains Meeting. The Captains Quiz found on IM Leagues must be completed with a score of 80% before a team can be created. Feel free to contact the IM webmaster at imsports@recsports.wis.edu with your questions or concerns. Best of luck this upcoming season.